The very first day of the waiting period here at the Corona Saquarema Pro presented by Banco Do Brasil. It's the Corona Zero Post Show. After a long day of competition, a real fun one too. 16 heats, 8 of the opening round of the men, 8 of the opening round of the women, and of course, My Hero Generations heat as well. Real fun first day of competition right here in Brazil. Mitchell Salazar with a couple of uncles right here on the host set. Marcos Bocayuva, and of course, my uncle from Oahu, Kaipo Guerrero. Kaipo, starting with you. Real fun day of action, but we did get through 16 heats. Pivotal day of competition here in Saquarema.
Yeah, it was a big day, and the surfers had to really adjust to the changing conditions. It was important. It's opening round for the men, opening round for the women. The substantial heats are going to come in the next round for the men and women. We're talking about qualification for the championship tour, but it was good to get those heats done today, and we saw some surprises and some new names and faces as well.
Right. Speaking of new names and faces, Marcos, a lot of local surfers prevailed today.
Man, how standout was Rickson Falcao with the traction, with the snaps and the combos, local knowledge. I think it's a young legend, new star was born today.
Yeah, I agree. And just coming through that heat along with Kaoli Voss, that was very impressive.
Yeah, a lot of great performances by local surfers. Obviously can't go past a lot of surfers that did come from different parts of the world too. But speaking of one of our best heats of the day, women's round 1, heat number 3, it was a local surfer, the 17-year-old guys, who was able to achieve victory in the opening round. We're talking about Alexia Monteiro. Kaipo, she came in from her heat win, saw her father crying, ended up crying herself. Biggest moment of career so far, went up against Eve Wong and advanced along with her.
Hey, this was not an easy heat, and to come in as a wild card here, just 17 years old, so impressive, beating Eve Leula Wong and Taina Hinkle along with Talia Swindell, all took him down. Some great surfing all the way around, but it was Alexia, really, who was the most impressive in this heat, and she took out the win.
Yeah, and Eve Wong moving through as well. Marcos, great surfing right there, but really, Monteiro stepping up to the plate right here, 17 years of age, in her first CS ever.
Solid surfing from Eva also, but look at how crispy was that snap. And normally, you know, all surfers choose PU material here, and a lot of carbon wrap boards like function so well today. Like Haoni's using one, but he was a coach today, so further on we'll talk about these.
What a moment, right, guys? I mean, we just saw the My Hero Generation seat, and Alexia Monteiro right there with a lot of emotion coming out of her. Makes it through her very first heat ever on the Challenger Series. Eve Wong also with a big move through right there into the next round, Kaipo, because she's looking to move up into the top 20, even the top 10 if she can.
Yeah, so it's important heat for Eve Leula Wong, but it's reputation building for someone like Alexia, and I feel like that's what really this opening round is all about. Seeing some new names and seeing some of the lower seeds when we look at the draw have to make this opening round, but we really get into the thick of it in the next round for the women, the round of 32 for the women, and the round of 64 for the men. That's when we really get into the thick of things.
We had a couple of big names right there, too. Talia Swindell, Taina Hinkle, she's been an Olympian before. Speaking of Olympians, it was the local kid who was able to advance with Olympic gold medalist Kaoli Voss in the very last heat of the opening round for the men. What a performance by Rickson Falcao, Marcos. It seemed like he was at home, and guess what? He's right here from Saquarema.
For sure, local knowledge, a lot of board control. Kaoli was surfing super clean, also super power. I loved that combo there. Super like 12 o'clock both turns. And Rickson, look at that, guys. The traction on the snaps, the fades, the deep bottom turns.
I mean, Kaipo, superb wave selection by the local boy. Surfing through an injury, too. It seems like he has a gash on one of his feet.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing right here from Rickson, and I love seeing new faces, new names, new excitement in the draw. And again, this is really what this opening round is about. And it's nice to see Kaoli Voss come through a heat. Hey, celebration is over for the gold medalist. Time to get back to work, young man. And that's what Kaoli Voss got going today, advancing on along with Rickson.
That's an excellent point, because after the Olympic Games, there was a decision to be made whether or not he went to Paris to celebrate or whether he went straight to the US Open. Decided to skip that event, which was a pivotal moment in this year for him to potentially qualify. Loses out early in Ediceda, and luckily for him, he's into the round of 64 right here at the Corona Saquarema Pro.
But for Kaoli Voss, that decision not to go to the US Open is going to put him another year on the Challenger Series.
Right.
Because right now he's a mathematic impossibility to qualify for the championship tour because of what he's holding. So that was, you know, hey, that's a part in your life. You're a gold medalist. You're only a gold medalist one time. But I can't wait. I mean, I feel like Kauli belongs on the championship tour.
Definitely.
And I think
yeah.
it's just a matter of time.
It's a matter of clinching good results on CS because he's a CT levels. We all know that.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of CT level, our Natura kayak wave of the day, in the very first heat of the morning, it was a former CT surfer who got an excellent score to start things off. We're talking about Jackson Baker from Merriweather, Newcastle, Australia. It is our Natura kayak wave of the day. Looking excellent out there. Kaipo dropped an 8 on his very last wave of the heat.
Hey, Jackson's Baxon. Look at him. Dancing on the beach, getting hyped up. Had to come back from an injury, but then Jackson Baker just throwing the hammer a couple times out there, making Merriweather proud.
And excellent waves to start off the day, too, Marcos. I mean, look at the conditions early on. It was as glassy could possibly be.
I love how loose he can surf and how power in the same time. The flow that he have like is second to none.
Mustache looking pretty good, too. Kaipo drops an 8.0 right there. And that is our Natura kayak wave of the day. So speaking of long-term forecasts, what we're potentially going to see later on at this event right here, our friends at Surfline, as always, providing us great information. We knew today was going to be fun. We didn't necessarily expect it to be that good early on in the morning. I mean, we lucked out. But let's see what we can hold in place later on during the waiting period, Kaipo. It seems like Monday all the way through Wednesday looking real fun.
All right, so this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the blob and that low pressure moving off. So that's going to be the end. That swell is going to dissipate. We're going to wait for little pulses coming through in this next week. Little windows up opportunity with that shorter period swell next week. And we're going to have to find those fun little windows because we don't have any, long period swells. It's going to be these little windows of short period swells. And also we got to pay attention to the wind. Tomorrow, 3 to 4 foot faces, but going to be onshore winds. So we're going to watch that. A wind's going to improve later on in the week near offshore. So that's what we got to deal in. That's the latest data from Surfline.
Going to be real fun. We did see onshore winds pick up strongly this afternoon, though. We did see them affect these waves detrimentally. Now looking to our favorite segment of the show, guys. Kaipo, you want to take a guess?
I think it's our top 5 moments of the day.
It is our top
Let's
5
go.
moments. Let's start with number 5 right here. We just saw it a little bit ago. It was My Hero Generation's heat out there in the water. And Marcos, what a fun moment to celebrate surfing, especially here in Brazil. Alexia Monteiro being coached by his son, Raoni Heitor Mueller right there with his dad. It was Gustavo Haupto who took out the W for Team Green.
Unforgettable moment for Brazilian surfing. Legendary, generation heat, My Hero, Foo Fighters, a lot of honor there for Gustavo. Super amped to compete. He was leading, have the best turns, the best combos. He was paddling out like a pro contest.
And look at this too. Mr. Hinkle went out there and ripped a few on the back end. Not enough to overtake Gustavo Hop, though. He's going to have to settle for second place. All in all, a lot of fun. Kika Veselko, former world junior champion, Kaipo on her very last wave, took out the W.
She had to flip it, right? She needed near a 5-point ride right at the end of the heat to go from third into second place to advance. She went all the way to first place with a 7.67. Kika comes through in a clutch, and we're going to see her in the next round, round of 32 for the women.
She got a bummer result in the Terceira. She's putting all the effort to leave Brazil with a big result and maybe jumping on the top 10.
And nice to see her with a lot of emotion, too. How about the son of Saquarema, though? Rickson Falcao coming out with maybe one of the strongest performances all day. He's into the round of 64.
Oh, yeah. He was ripping all over this heat. Big bottom turns, deep fading, board control, local knowledge, all the right, connections with the amazing performers.
And 2 local kids today really standing out, Kaipo, was the knowledge of these 2 guys. I'm saying it right now, this kid's a star in the making. It was Daniel Templar with the big heat total.
Daniel Templar had to overcome a weird beginning with a little paddle interference there on Tully Wiley and just kept his head straight on his shoulders, came through with a 7.7 and 7.33 high heat total for today, and one to watch out for.
And our top of the day, number 1, Tears of Joy by Alexia Monteiro. Marcos, you've been in this position before. She is very content with what she was able to do in her first round.
Amazing. New star born here in Brazil, and she ripped so much, and the boards were like super loose and fast. Normally, as I said back, people use more PU here to sink more of the turns here in Saquarema, but she was using it like a carbon wrap board and functions so good. underneath her feet.
Yeah, looks solid.
Should
Solid.
be a potential another run day tomorrow. So just tune in to worldsurfleague.com and we'll see you then.
Yeah.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.